Attention everyone over 50! What I'm about to share with you could be the most important health information you hear this year. If you've been struggling with blood sugar spikes, feeling tired after meals, or watching your glucose numbers creep higher despite your best efforts, this video is specifically for you. I'm going to reveal 3 common vegetables that have been scientifically proven to help lower blood sugar naturally. And the second one is so powerful that it can literally change what happens in your body within minutes of eating it. But here's what makes this different from all the other health advice you've heard before. These aren't exotic superfoods that cost a fortune or require you to completely overhaul your diet. These are vegetables you can find in any grocery store. And when you understand exactly how to use them, they become your secret weapons against diabetes and blood sugar spikes. Now, before we dive in, I need you to understand something crucial. After age 50, your body undergoes significant metabolic changes. Your insulin sensitivity naturally decreases by approximately 2 to 3% each year. This means the same foods that didn't affect your blood sugar in your 30s and 40s can now send your glucose levels soaring. Your pancreas has to work harder to produce insulin, and your cells become more resistant to insulin's effects. This is why so many people find themselves pre-diabetic or diabetic seemingly overnight, even when they haven't changed their eating habits dramatically. The statistics are sobering. According to the Centers for Disease Control, more than 37 million Americans have diabetes, and 96 million adults have prediabetes. But here's what's even more concerning. Among adults aged 50 and older, the prevalence of diabetes jumps to over 26%. That means more than 1 in 4 people over 50 are dealing with this condition. And if you're over 65, that number climbs to over 30%. But here's the good news, and this is why I'm so excited to share this information with you today. Recent research has shown that specific vegetables contain compounds that can help your body manage blood sugar more effectively. We're talking about natural compounds that work with your body's existing mechanisms to slow down glucose absorption, improve insulin sensitivity, and reduce those dangerous post-meal blood sugar spikes that put so much stress on your cardiovascular system. The 3 vegetables I'm going to share with you today work through different mechanisms, but they all achieve the same goal: better blood sugar control. And when you learn how to combine them strategically throughout your day, you'll have a powerful toolkit that can help you maintain steadier glucose levels, reduce your risk of diabetic complications, and honestly, just feel better overall. Now, I want to be crystal clear about something from the start. This is not medical advice, and these vegetables are not a cure for diabetes. If you have diabetes or prediabetes, you absolutely must continue working with your healthcare provider. What I'm sharing with you today are evidence-based nutritional strategies that can complement your existing treatment plan. Think of these as tools in your toolkit, not replacement for proper medical care. But with that said, the research behind what I'm about to share is compelling. We're talking about peer-reviewed studies published in respected journals like the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry, Diabetes Care, and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. This isn't wishful thinking or marketing hype. This is science. Let me also address something that I know many of you are thinking right now. You might be wondering, can vegetables really make that much of a difference? And I understand that skepticism. We've all been told to eat our vegetables since we were children, but most of us have never understood the specific mechanisms by which certain vegetables can impact blood sugar. The key is in understanding that not all vegetables are created equal when it comes to blood sugar management. While all non-starchy vegetables are generally good for you, the 3 I'm going to share today contain specific compounds that have been shown to have direct effects on glucose metabolism. We're talking about bioactive compounds like sulforaphane, mucilage, and chlorogenic acid, which work at the cellular level to improve how your body handles sugar. So here's what we're going to cover today. First, I'll explain the science behind how these vegetables work to lower blood sugar. Then, I'll reveal each of the 3 vegetables, explain exactly why they're so effective, and give you specific strategies for incorporating them into your daily routine. I'll also share the most common mistakes people make that completely negate the benefits. And finally, I'll give you a simple meal planning framework that you can start using today. Before we get into the specific vegetables, let me explain the fundamental principle that makes this whole approach work. It's something called the gastric emptying effect, combined with what researchers call glucose sequestration. When you eat certain types of fiber-rich vegetables, especially those with specific bioactive compounds, several things happen in your digestive system. First, the fiber creates a gel-like consistency in your stomach and small intestine. This physically slows down the rate at which food moves through your digestive system. When food moves more slowly, the sugars and carbohydrates are absorbed more gradually, preventing those sharp spikes in blood glucose that are so damaging to your system. Second, certain plant compounds can actually interfere with the enzymes that break down carbohydrates. When these enzymes work more slowly, the conversion of complex carbohydrates into simple sugars happens at a more manageable pace, giving your insulin response time to keep up. Third, and this is really fascinating, some vegetable compounds can actually improve insulin sensitivity at the cellular level. They help your cells respond more effectively to insulin, which means your pancreas doesn't have to work as hard to manage your blood sugar. Now, there's also something called the second meal effect that's particularly relevant for people over 50. When you eat fiber-rich vegetables with bioactive compounds, they don't just affect the blood sugar response to that particular meal. They can actually improve your glucose response to the next meal you eat, sometimes for up to 12 hours later. This is why incorporating these vegetables consistently can have such a profound cumulative effect on your overall glucose control. The timing of when you eat these vegetables also matters tremendously, and this is where many people get it wrong. Research has shown that eating your vegetables first, before your protein and carbohydrates, can reduce the blood sugar spike from your meal by as much as 30%. This is called the food sequencing effect, and it's one of the simplest yet most powerful strategies you can implement immediately. Now, let's talk about the first vegetable that can literally transform your blood sugar control, especially if you're over 50. This first vegetable belongs to a family of plants called cruciferous vegetables, and the most common and accessible members of this family are broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and kale. Now you might be thinking, I've heard about cruciferous vegetables before. But what you probably haven't heard is the specific mechanism by which these vegetables help control blood sugar, and more importantly, how to prepare and consume them to maximize their effectiveness. The magic compound in cruciferous vegetables is called sulforaphane, and here's why it's so powerful for blood sugar control. Sulforaphane activates a cellular pathway called NRF2, which is basically your body's master antioxidant defense system. When this pathway is activated, it improves insulin sensitivity by reducing inflammation in your cells and protecting them from oxidative stress. But here's what's really interesting. Sulforaphane also activates an enzyme called AMPK, which is often called the body's metabolic master switch. When AMPK is activated, it improves glucose uptake by your muscles and helps your liver produce less glucose. Essentially, it's like having a natural metformin working in your system. The research on this is quite remarkable. A study published in the journal Science Translational Medicine found that sulforaphane reduced glucose production by the liver by up to 23% in people with type 2 diabetes. Another study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism showed that people who consumed sulforaphane-rich foods had significantly better glucose tolerance and insulin sensitivity. But here's the critical part that most people don't know. To get the maximum sulforaphane from cruciferous vegetables, you need to understand how to prepare them properly. Sulforaphane isn't actually present in the raw vegetable. Instead, these vegetables contain two precursor compounds, glucoraphanin and an enzyme called myrosinase. When you chop, chew, or damage the plant cells, these two compounds come into contact and create sulforaphane. However, and this is crucial, heat destroys the myrosinase enzyme. So if you steam or cook your broccoli immediately after chopping it, you'll get very little sulforaphane. The solution is simple. After chopping your cruciferous vegetables, let's Them sit for about 10 to 15 minutes before cooking. This allows the enzymatic reaction to occur and creates stable sulforaphane that can survive light cooking. For maximum blood sugar benefits, you want to consume about 1 to 2 cups of cruciferous vegetables per day. This might sound like a lot, but it's easier than you think when you spread it throughout your meals. You could have half a cup of sautéed kale with breakfast, a cup of steamed broccoli with lunch, and some raw shredded cabbage in a dinner salad. Now let me share a simple preparation method that maximizes both the sulforaphane content and the blood sugar benefits. Take 2 cups of fresh broccoli florets and chop them into smaller pieces. Let them sit at room temperature for 15 minutes. Then, steam them lightly for just 3 to 4 minutes until they're bright green and still have a slight crunch. Toss them with a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and a pinch of sea salt. The olive oil is important because sulforaphane is fat-soluble, meaning it's better absorbed when consumed with healthy fats. This combination of fiber, sulforaphane, and healthy fats creates a powerful blood sugar stabilizing effect that can last for hours. Here's a mistake I see many people make. They think that cooking cruciferous vegetables longer makes them more digestible, and therefore better for blood sugar control. Actually, the opposite is true. Overcooking not only destroys the beneficial sulforaphane but also breaks down the fiber structure that helps slow glucose absorption. You want your cruciferous vegetables to retain some texture and crunch. Another common mistake is drowning these vegetables in sugary sauces or dressings. I've seen people take perfectly good steamed broccoli and cover it with teriyaki sauce or sweet and sour sauce, completely negating the blood sugar benefits. Instead, enhance the flavor with herbs, spices, lemon juice, garlic, or small amounts of healthy fats like olive oil or avocado oil. For those of you who struggle with the taste of cruciferous vegetables, here's a game-changing tip: roasting them at high heat. When you roast broccoli, cauliflower, or Brussels sprouts at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes, the natural sugars caramelize, creating a sweet, nutty flavor that's completely different from steamed vegetables. Just remember to chop them first and let them sit for 15 minutes before roasting. You can also mask the slightly bitter taste by combining cruciferous vegetables with naturally sweet vegetables like bell peppers, carrots, or onions. A stir-fry that combines broccoli with red bell peppers and onions, seasoned with garlic and ginger, is not only delicious but creates a powerful blood sugar controlling combination. Now let's address a concern that some of you might have. Cruciferous vegetables contain compounds called goitrogens, which can theoretically interfere with thyroid function. However, you would need to consume extremely large amounts of raw cruciferous vegetables to have any impact, and cooking neutralizes most goitrogenic activity. For the vast majority of people, the blood sugar and overall health benefits far outweigh any potential concerns. There is one important consideration for those of you taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin. Cruciferous vegetables, particularly kale and collard greens, are high in vitamin K, which can affect blood clotting. If you're on blood thinners, you don't need to avoid these vegetables entirely, but you should maintain consistent intake and work with your healthcare provider to monitor your medication levels. Now, let me give you a practical meal planning framework for incorporating cruciferous vegetables into your daily routine. For breakfast, try adding a handful of chopped kale or spinach to your scrambled eggs or omelet. The protein from the eggs combined with the fiber and sulforaphane from the greens creates an excellent blood sugar stable start to your day. For lunch, make cruciferous vegetables the star of your plate. A large salad with mixed greens, including arugula and watercress, topped with grilled chicken or fish, and a variety of colorful vegetables, provides sustained energy without blood sugar spikes. Add some nuts or seeds for healthy fats and additional protein. For dinner, use the plate method. Fill half your plate with non-starchy vegetables, including at least one cruciferous vegetable. A quarter of your plate should be lean protein, and the remaining quarter can be a small portion of whole grain carbohydrates or starchy vegetables. Here's a specific meal combination that I've found particularly effective for blood sugar control. Start your dinner with a small salad that includes raw cabbage or arugula. Follow this with grilled salmon and roasted broccoli, seasoned with garlic and herbs. Finish with a small portion of quinoa or sweet potato. The fiber and sulforaphane from the cruciferous vegetables, combined with the healthy fats from the salmon, create a meal that produces minimal blood sugar elevation. Now let's move on to the second vegetable, and this one might surprise you because it's not commonly discussed in blood sugar management circles. This vegetable is okra, and the reason it's so effective for blood sugar control is quite different from cruciferous vegetables. Okra contains a unique type of soluble fiber called mucilage, which creates a gel-like substance when it comes into contact with water. This gel formation is the key to okra's blood sugar-lowering properties. When you eat okra, the mucilage forms a viscous gel in your digestive system that physically traps glucose molecules and slows their absorption into your bloodstream. The research on okra and blood sugar is quite impressive. A study published in the ISRN Pharmaceutics Journal found that okra extract significantly reduced blood glucose levels in diabetic rats. Human studies have shown similar promising results, with people consuming okra showing improved glucose tolerance and reduced post-meal blood sugar spikes. But here's what makes okra particularly valuable for people over 50. The mucilage in okra doesn't just slow glucose absorption. It also helps improve insulin sensitivity. The gel-like substance appears to modify the way insulin receptors respond to glucose, making your cells more efficient at taking up sugar from your bloodstream. The traditional preparation of okra that many people are familiar with involves cooking it until it becomes quite slimy, which many people find unappetizing. However, this sliminess is actually the mucilage that provides the blood sugar benefits. The key is learning how to prepare okra in ways that maximize the mucilage content while making it more palatable. One of the most effective preparation methods is to slice okra into rounds and roast them at high heat. This concentrates the beneficial compounds while reducing the slimy texture that many people dislike. Cut fresh okra pods into half-inch slices, toss them with a small amount of olive oil and seasonings, and roast them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're lightly browned and crispy. Another excellent preparation method is to add okra to soups, stews, or curries. The mucilage helps thicken the dish naturally while providing blood sugar benefits. A simple tomato-based stew with okra, onions, and herbs creates a flavorful side dish that can significantly impact your glucose response to the meal. For maximum blood sugar benefits, you want to consume about 1 cup of prepared okra per day. This might be half a cup with lunch and half a cup with dinner, or you could consume a full cup with your largest meal of the day. Here's a preparation technique that maximizes both the blood sugar benefits and the palatability. Cut fresh okra into thick slices and marinate them in lemon juice for about 10 minutes. The acid from the lemon juice helps reduce the sliminess while preserving the beneficial mucilage. Then you can grill, roast, or sauté the okra with your favorite seasonings. One mistake I see people make is trying to completely eliminate the mucilage from okra, thinking that the slimy texture is undesirable. While I understand that the texture can be off-putting, remember that the mucilage is exactly what provides the blood sugar benefits. The goal is to find preparation methods that make the mucilage more palatable, not to eliminate it entirely. Another common error is consuming okra in forms that don't provide the blood sugar benefits. Okra pickles, for example, while delicious, are often made with high-sugar brines that can actually raise blood sugar. Similarly, breaded and fried okra not only adds refined carbohydrates and unhealthy fats but also reduces the effectiveness of the mucilage. There's also been some interest in something called okra water, which involves soaking sliced okra in water overnight and drinking the resulting liquid. While this practice has some traditional use, the scientific evidence for its effectiveness is limited compared to consuming the whole vegetable. The fiber and other beneficial compounds in okra work synergistically with the mucilage to provide blood sugar benefits. So eating the whole vegetable is more effective than just consuming the extracted mucilage. For those of you who are new to okra, start with small amounts to see how your digestive system responds. Some people may experience mild digestive discomfort when first introducing high mucilage foods, but this typically resolves as your system adapts. Here's a simple and delicious okra recipe that maximizes blood sugar benefits. Heat a tablespoon of olive oil in a large skillet over medium-high heat. Add 1 sliced onion and cook until softened. Add 2 cups of sliced okra and cook for about 5 minutes, stirring occasionally. Add diced tomatoes, minced garlic, cumin, and paprika. Simmer for 10 to 15 minutes until the okra is tender and the flavors have melded. This creates a flavorful side dish that provides significant blood sugar benefits. You can also incorporate okra into international cuisines that traditionally use this vegetable. Indian bhindi masala, Middle Eastern bamia, and Southern American gumbo all feature okra prominently and can be adapted to be more blood sugar friendly by reducing added sugars and increasing the vegetable content. Now, let's discuss the third vegetable that can significantly impact your blood sugar control, especially after age 50. This vegetable is eggplant, and while it might seem like an unusual choice for blood sugar management, the research supporting its use is quite compelling. Eggplant contains several compounds that work together to help control blood sugar. The primary active compound is chlorogenic acid, which is the same compound that gives coffee some of its health benefits. Chlorogenic acid works by inhibiting an enzyme called alpha-glucosidase, which is responsible for breaking down complex carbohydrates into simple sugars. When this enzyme is inhibited, carbohydrates are absorbed more slowly, resulting in smaller blood sugar spikes. Eggplant also contains a significant amount of fiber, particularly in the skin, which helps slow glucose absorption. Additionally, eggplant contains compounds called anthocyanins, especially in purple varieties, which have been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammation. A study published in the Journal of Nutritional Science found that people who consumed eggplant extract had significantly lower post-meal blood glucose levels compared to those who didn't. Another study in the International Journal of Food Sciences and Nutrition showed that regular consumption of eggplant was associated with better long-term blood sugar control. The key to getting the maximum blood sugar benefits from eggplant is in the preparation. The skin of the eggplant contains the highest concentration of beneficial compounds, so you want to keep the skin on whenever possible. However, eggplant can be bitter if not prepared properly, and many people make the mistake of peeling it or preparing it in ways that reduce its blood sugar benefits. Here's the proper way to prepare eggplant for maximum benefit. Choose firm, glossy eggplants without soft spots or wrinkled skin. Cut them into slices or cubes depending on your recipe, but always leave the skin on. If you're concerned about bitterness, you can salt the cut eggplant and let it sit for about 30 minutes, then rinse and pat dry. This process, called sweating, removes some of the bitter compounds while preserving the beneficial ones. One of the most effective cooking methods for blood sugar control is roasting. Cut eggplant into cubes, toss with olive oil and herbs, and roast at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes until tender and golden brown. This method concentrates the beneficial compounds while creating a delicious, meaty texture. Grilling is another excellent preparation method. Slice eggplant lengthwise into thick planks, brush with olive oil, and grill over medium heat for about 4 to 5 minutes per side until tender and marked. Grilled eggplant can be used as a low-carbohydrate substitute for pasta in dishes like eggplant lasagna. For maximum blood sugar benefits, aim for about 1 cup of cooked eggplant per day. This can be incorporated into main dishes, side dishes, or even used as a meat substitute in various recipes. Here's a common mistake that completely negates the blood sugar benefits of eggplant: breading and frying it. Eggplant parmesan, while delicious, is typically made by coating eggplant slices in flour and breadcrumbs, then deep frying them. This adds a significant amount of refined carbohydrates and unhealthy fats. turning a blood sugar-friendly vegetable into a blood sugar nightmare. Instead, try making a healthier version by slicing eggplant, brushing it with olive oil and herbs, and baking it until tender. Layer it with tomato sauce and a small amount of cheese for a blood sugar-friendly eggplant parmesan that still satisfies your cravings. Another mistake is using too much oil when cooking eggplant. Eggplant is like a sponge and can absorb enormous amounts of oil if you're not careful. This not only adds unnecessary calories, but can also slow digestion in ways that might affect blood sugar control. Use cooking methods that require minimal added fats, or use measured amounts of healthy oils like olive oil. Eggplant also works wonderfully in Mediterranean and Middle Eastern cuisines, which traditionally feature this vegetable prominently. Baba ganoush, ratatouille, and moussaka can all be adapted to be more blood sugar friendly by reducing added sugars and increasing the vegetable content. Here's a simple eggplant preparation that's particularly effective for blood sugar control. Cut a large eggplant into cubes and toss with diced tomatoes, onions, bell peppers, garlic, herbs, and a small amount of olive oil. Roast the mixture at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 to 40 minutes, stirring occasionally until all vegetables are tender. This creates a versatile vegetable mixture that can be served as a side dish, over quinoa or brown rice, or even as a sauce for grilled fish or chicken. You can also use eggplant as a low-carbohydrate substitute in many recipes. Thin slices of grilled eggplant can replace pasta sheets in lasagna. Cubed roasted eggplant can be added to curries, stews, and grain bowls to increase the fiber content and blood sugar benefits. Now that we've covered the 3 specific vegetables, let me share with you the strategic approach to using them for maximum blood sugar control. This isn't just about adding these vegetables to your diet randomly. It's about understanding how to combine them, when to eat them, and how to structure your meals for optimal glucose management. The most important principle is what I call the vegetable first rule. Research has consistently shown that eating your vegetables before your protein and carbohydrates can reduce the blood sugar spike from your meal by 20 to 30%. This works because the fiber and bioactive compounds in the vegetables create a physical and chemical barrier that slows the absorption of sugars and starches from the rest of your meal. Here's how to implement this practically. Start each meal with a small salad, or serving of raw or lightly cooked vegetables. This could be a simple salad with mixed greens and some of your cruciferous vegetables, a few pieces of roasted eggplant, or some lightly sautéed okra. Eat this completely before moving on to the protein portion of your meal, and then finish with any carbohydrates. The timing between courses doesn't need to be long. Even just 5 to 10 minutes between the vegetable course and the rest of your meal can make a significant difference in your blood sugar response. If eating separate courses isn't practical, at least make sure to eat several bites of vegetables before eating any starches or sugary foods. Another critical strategy is understanding how to combine these vegetables with other foods for maximum benefit. Healthy fats enhance the absorption of fat-soluble compounds like sulforaphane, so don't be afraid to add small amounts of olive oil, avocado, nuts, or seeds to your vegetable dishes. These fats also help slow gastric emptying, which further helps with blood sugar control. Protein is another important component. When you combine fiber-rich vegetables with lean protein, you create a synergistic effect that helps stabilize blood sugar for hours. The protein provides sustained energy without blood sugar spikes, while the vegetables provide the fiber and bioactive compounds that help your body process any carbohydrates more effectively. Here's a practical meal template that incorporates all 3 vegetables. Start with a mixed green salad that includes some raw cabbage or arugula, dressed with olive oil and vinegar. Follow this with a main course of grilled chicken or fish, served with roasted eggplant and steamed broccoli. If you want to include some carbohydrates, finish with a small portion of quinoa or sweet potato. For those of you who eat out frequently, you can still implement these strategies. Most restaurants can accommodate requests for extra vegetables or salads served first. Ask for steamed vegetables instead of starches. Request that sauces be served on the side. And don't be afraid to ask for modifications that support your blood sugar goals. Meal timing also plays a role in blood sugar control. While these vegetables are beneficial at any time, they may be most effective when consumed before your largest meal of the day or before meals that contain the most carbohydrates. Many people find that having their largest vegetable serving at lunch helps prevent the afternoon energy crash that's common when blood sugar spikes and then drops. Let me address some common concerns and questions that people have when implementing these strategies. First, some people worry about the cost of increasing their vegetable intake. While fresh vegetables can be expensive, frozen versions of broccoli, cauliflower, and other vegetables are just as nutritionally beneficial and often more affordable. Frozen vegetables are harvested at peak ripeness and flash frozen, preserving their nutritional content. Second, some people are concerned about digestive issues when increasing fiber intake. It's true that suddenly increasing your vegetable consumption can cause temporary digestive discomfort, including gas and bloating. The key is to increase your intake gradually. Start by adding 1 serving of these vegetables per day, and slowly increase over the course of a week or 2 as your digestive system adapts. Third, many people wonder about the best times of day to consume these vegetables. While they're beneficial at any time, there's some evidence that consuming fiber-rich vegetables earlier in the day may help with overall blood sugar control throughout the day. This is related to the second meal effect I mentioned earlier. Now let's talk about some advanced strategies for those of you who want to maximize the blood sugar benefits of these vegetables. One technique is called veggie cycling, where you rotate between different vegetables throughout the week to expose your body to a variety of beneficial compounds. Monday might be broccoli day, Tuesday could focus on okra, Wednesday on eggplant, and so on. Another advanced strategy is understanding how cooking methods affect the bioavailability of different compounds. While I've given you the basic preparation methods, you can optimize further by understanding that some compounds are enhanced by cooking, while others are degraded. For example, the lycopene in tomatoes becomes more bioavailable when cooked, while vitamin C in vegetables is degraded by heat. This is why varying your preparation methods can be beneficial. You can also enhance the blood sugar benefits by combining these vegetables with specific herbs and spices that have their own glucose-lowering properties. Cinnamon, turmeric, ginger, and garlic all have compounds that can help with blood sugar control. A stir-fry that combines broccoli and eggplant with garlic and ginger provides multiple blood sugar lowering compounds working synergistically for those of you who are very serious about optimizing your blood sugar control. Consider investing in a continuous glucose monitor or at least a simple glucometer. This allows you to see in real time how different foods and food combinations affect your blood sugar. You might discover that certain preparations or combinations work better for your individual physiology. Let me share some specific meal combinations that have been particularly effective for blood sugar control based on the principles we've discussed. For breakfast, try a vegetable omelet made with eggs, spinach, bell peppers, and a small amount of cheese, served with a side of sautéed kale. This provides protein, healthy fats, and fiber to start your day with stable blood sugar. For lunch, consider a large salad with mixed greens, including arugula and cabbage, topped with grilled chicken, roasted eggplant, steamed broccoli, and a simple olive oil and vinegar dressing. Add some nuts or seeds for extra protein and healthy fats. This meal provides sustained energy without blood sugar spikes. For dinner, start with a small portion of lightly cooked okra, or a salad with raw cruciferous vegetables. Follow this with a main course of grilled fish or lean meat, served with roasted vegetables including at least one of our 3 target vegetables. If you include carbohydrates, choose complex carbohydrates like quinoa or brown rice in small portions. Snacking can also be an opportunity to incorporate these blood sugar-friendly vegetables. Raw vegetables with hummus, roasted vegetable chips made from eggplant or kale, or a simple vegetable soup can help maintain steady blood sugar between meals. Now, let's address some myths and misconceptions about vegetables and blood sugar that I encounter frequently. One common myth is that eating vegetables in the evening will cause blood sugar spikes because your metabolism slows down at night. This is not true. The fiber and beneficial compounds in vegetables work the same way regardless of the time of day. In fact, having a vegetable-rich dinner can help prevent the dawn phenomenon, where blood sugar rises in the early morning hours. Another myth is that only organic vegetables provide blood sugar benefits. While organic vegetables may have some advantages in terms of pesticide residues and environmental impact, the blood sugar controlling compounds we've discussed are present in conventionally grown vegetables as well. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. If budget or availability makes organic vegetables challenging, conventional vegetables still provide significant benefits. Some people also believe that vegetable juices provide the same benefits as whole vegetables. This is not the case for blood sugar control. The juicing process removes the fiber that is crucial for slowing glucose absorption. Additionally, vegetable juices can be absorbed much more quickly than whole vegetables, potentially causing faster rises in blood sugar even from natural vegetable sugars. There's also a misconception that vegetables with natural sugars, like carrots or beets, should be avoided by people concerned about blood sugar. While these vegetables do contain natural sugars, they also contain fiber and other compounds that help moderate their effect on blood glucose. The key is portion control and combining them with other foods as part of a balanced meal. Let me also address the concern that some people have about oxalates in vegetables like spinach and kale. Oxalates can contribute to kidney stone formation in susceptible individuals, but for most people, the health benefits of these vegetables far outweigh any potential risks. If you have a history of kidney stones, you should discuss your vegetable intake with your healthcare provider. But you likely don't need to avoid these vegetables entirely. For those of you taking medications for diabetes or other conditions, it's important to monitor your blood sugar carefully when implementing these dietary changes. While these vegetables can help improve blood sugar control, they shouldn't be used to replace prescribed medications without medical supervision. However, as your blood sugar control improves, your healthcare provider may be able to adjust your medications accordingly. Now, let me give you a practical weekly meal planning framework that incorporates all three of these blood sugar-friendly vegetables while being realistic about time constraints and food preparation. The key is to do some preparation work on the weekends to make it easier to include these vegetables throughout the week. On Sunday, spend about an hour preparing vegetables for the week. Wash and chop cruciferous vegetables and store them in the refrigerator. Remember to let them sit for 10 to 15 minutes after chopping before storing to allow the beneficial enzymatic reactions to occur. Roast a large batch of eggplant cubes that can be used in various dishes throughout the week. Prepare some okra using your preferred method and store it for quick reheating. Monday through Wednesday, focus on using your fresh prepared vegetables. Start each day with some raw or lightly cooked vegetables. Include a substantial serving of vegetables with lunch, and begin dinner with a vegetable course. Thursday and Friday, you might need to do some additional preparation, but the weekend prep work makes it much more manageable. This approach also allows you to batch cook some vegetable-based dishes that can be used throughout the week. A large pot of vegetable soup that includes okra and other beneficial vegetables can provide quick, blood sugar-friendly meals when you're short on time. Similarly, a roasted vegetable medley can be reheated and served with different proteins throughout the week. Here are some specific batch cooking ideas that incorporate our target vegetables. Make a large batch of ratatouille that features eggplant prominently. This can be served over quinoa, used as a sauce for grilled proteins, or eaten as a side dish. Prepare a large quantity of sautéed kale and other greens that can be added to eggs, soups, or grain bowls throughout the week. Roast several cups of mixed vegetables, including broccoli and cauliflower, that can be quickly reheated for any meal. For those of you who travel frequently or have unpredictable schedules, consider keeping some frozen versions of these vegetables on hand. While fresh is ideal, frozen vegetables retain most of their nutritional benefits and can be quickly prepared when time is short. A bag of frozen broccoli can be steamed in just a few minutes, and frozen chopped spinach can be added to soups, scrambled eggs, or pasta dishes. Restaurant strategies are also important for maintaining blood sugar control when you're not eating at home. Most restaurants can accommodate requests for extra vegetables or substitutions. Ask for steamed vegetables instead of rice or potatoes. Request that salads be served first. And don't hesitate to ask about preparation methods to avoid added sugars in sauces and dressings. When dining out, look for restaurants that offer grilled, roasted, or steamed vegetables as side dishes. Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, and Indian restaurants often feature vegetable dishes prominently and may have options that include our target vegetables. Greek restaurants often serve excellent grilled vegetables. Indian restaurants may offer okra dishes, and many Middle Eastern restaurants feature eggplant prominently. Let me also address the social aspects of changing your eating habits. It can be challenging when family members or friends aren't supportive of your efforts to improve your blood sugar control through diet. One strategy is to focus on additions rather than restrictions. Instead of talking about what you're eliminating from your diet, focus on the delicious new vegetable dishes you're discovering. When you bring a beautiful roasted eggplant dish or a colorful cruciferous vegetable stir-fry to a family gathering, you're demonstrating that healthy eating can be flavorful and satisfying. You can also involve others in your meal preparation. Many people are curious about new cooking techniques and flavors. Teaching a family member how to properly prepare broccoli to maximize its sulforaphane content, or showing them how to make okra less slimy, can turn meal preparation into a shared learning experience. For those of you who are cooking for others who don't have blood sugar concerns, you can easily adapt meals to accommodate different needs. Prepare the vegetables using the methods I've described, then serve them alongside different proteins or carbohydrates based on individual preferences and health goals. The vegetables provide benefits for everyone, even those without blood sugar issues. Now, let's discuss some troubleshooting strategies for common challenges people face when implementing these dietary changes. One of the most frequent complaints I hear is that vegetables are boring or bland. This usually indicates that the person hasn't learned proper seasoning and preparation techniques. Each of our 3 target vegetables can be transformed from bland to delicious with the right approach. For cruciferous vegetables, the key is often in the cooking method and seasoning. Raw kale can be massaged with a little olive oil and salt to break down the tough fibers and reduce bitterness. Broccoli becomes sweet and nutty when roasted at high heat. Brussels sprouts transform completely when halved and caramelized in a pan with onions and a touch of balsamic vinegar. With okra, the challenge is usually the texture rather than the flavor. The mucilage that provides the blood sugar benefits can be off-putting if you're not used to it. The key is finding preparation methods that minimize the sliminess while preserving the beneficial compounds. High-heat cooking, acidic ingredients like tomatoes or vinegar, and combining okra with other vegetables can all help improve the texture. Eggplant can be bitter if not prepared properly, but it also has an amazing ability to absorb flavors. This makes it perfect for dishes with bold seasonings. Mediterranean herbs, Middle Eastern spices, and Asian seasonings all work beautifully with eggplant. The key is not to be timid with seasonings and to use enough salt to bring out the natural flavors. Another common challenge is digestive adjustment. When you significantly increase your fiber intake, your digestive system may need time to adapt. Some people experience gas, bloating, or changes in bowel movements when they first start eating more vegetables. This is normal and usually resolves within a week or 2 as your gut bacteria adjust to the increased fiber. To minimize digestive discomfort, increase your vegetable intake gradually. Start by adding 1 serving of these target vegetables per day and slowly increase over the course of a week or 2. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water, as fiber needs adequate hydration to work properly. You might also consider taking a high-quality probiotic supplement to support your gut bacteria as they adapt to your new eating pattern. Some people also find that certain cooking methods are easier to digest than others. Steaming and sautéing often cause less digestive upset than raw vegetables, especially when you're first making the transition. As your system adapts, you can gradually increase the amount of raw vegetables in your diet. Let me share some advanced meal timing strategies that can enhance the blood sugar benefits of these vegetables. The concept of chrononutrition suggests that our bodies process nutrients differently at different times of the day based on our circadian rhythms. While the research in this area is still developing, there are some practical applications that may help optimize blood sugar control. For example, some research suggests that we're most insulin sensitive in the morning and that sensitivity decreases throughout the day. This might mean that consuming your carbohydrates earlier in the day and emphasizing vegetables and protein later in the day could be beneficial for blood sugar control. You might have a more substantial breakfast that includes some complex carbohydrates along with your vegetables and protein. Then focus primarily on vegetables and protein for lunch and dinner. The post-meal walk is another timing strategy that can significantly enhance the blood sugar benefits of your vegetable-rich meals. Research has shown that a gentle 10 to 15-minute walk after eating can reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes by 20 to 30%. This works because physical activity helps your muscles take up glucose from your bloodstream, and it doesn't need to be intense exercise. A leisurely walk around the block is sufficient. You can also experiment with the timing of your vegetable consumption within meals. Some people find that eating their vegetables 10 to 15 minutes before the rest of their meal provides better blood sugar control than eating them simultaneously. This gives the fiber time to begin forming a gel in your stomach before other foods arrive. Hydration timing also plays a role in blood sugar control and digestion. Drinking large amounts of water with meals can dilute digestive enzymes and potentially speed gastric emptying, which might reduce the blood sugar benefits of your vegetables. Instead, focus on staying well hydrated between meals and drink only small amounts of water with food. Now, let's discuss some specific scenarios and how to adapt these strategies to different situations. For people who work night shifts or have irregular schedules, the key is consistency rather than specific timing. Focus on including these vegetables with your main meals, regardless of when those meals occur. Your body will adapt to your schedule, and the blood sugar benefits of the vegetables will still apply. For those dealing with other health conditions alongside blood sugar concerns, these vegetables can often provide additional benefits. The anti-inflammatory compounds in cruciferous vegetables may help with arthritis and other inflammatory conditions. The fiber in all three vegetables supports digestive health and may help with cholesterol management. The antioxidants provide general cellular protection that benefits overall health. However, there are some considerations for specific health conditions. People with inflammatory bowel disease or irritable bowel syndrome may need to modify their approach to increasing vegetable intake. Raw vegetables and high-fiber foods can sometimes exacerbate symptoms in these conditions. Working with a healthcare provider or registered dietitian can help you find ways to include these beneficial vegetables in forms that your digestive system can tolerate. For those taking blood pressure medications, the potassium content in vegetables like spinach and other leafy greens can be beneficial. But sudden large increases in potassium intake should be monitored, especially if you're taking ACE inhibitors or other medications that affect potassium levels. People with kidney disease may need to limit certain vegetables high in potassium or phosphorus, but this doesn't necessarily exclude our three target vegetables entirely. Portion control and preparation methods can often allow people with kidney disease to still benefit from these vegetables while staying within their dietary restrictions. Let me address some frequently asked questions about supplements versus whole foods when it comes to blood sugar control. You might be wondering whether you can get the same benefits from supplements containing sulforaphane, fiber, or other plant compounds instead of eating the actual vegetables. While supplements can provide concentrated amounts of specific compounds, they don't replicate the complex interactions between the various nutrients and compounds found in whole foods. Vegetables provide not just individual beneficial compounds, but also the synergistic effects of multiple nutrients working together. Additionally, the physical act of chewing and the presence of fiber in whole vegetables contribute to blood sugar control in ways that supplements cannot replicate. That said, supplements can be useful in specific situations. If you're traveling extensively and can't maintain your usual vegetable intake, a high-quality fiber supplement might help bridge the gap. Some people find that a sulforaphane supplement helps when they can't consistently consume cruciferous vegetables. However, these should be seen as supplements to, not replacements for, a vegetable-rich diet. The quality of supplements can also be highly variable, and the absorption and effectiveness of isolated compounds may be different from those found in whole foods. If you do choose to use supplements, look for third-party tested products from reputable manufacturers, and continue to prioritize whole foods as your primary source of nutrients. Now, let's talk about seasonal considerations and how to maintain your vegetable intake year-round. Different seasons bring different challenges and opportunities for including these blood sugar-friendly vegetables in your diet. Spring is an excellent time to start incorporating more raw preparations as fresh, tender vegetables become available. Young kale and spinach are perfect for salads, and spring onions can add flavor to your vegetable dishes. This is also a good time to start or expand a vegetable garden if you have the space and inclination. Summer provides abundant fresh options and is perfect for grilling and fresh preparations. Eggplant is at its peak in late summer, and the abundance of fresh vegetables makes it easy to fill half your plate with non-starchy options. Raw preparations are more appealing in hot weather, and cold vegetable soups can be refreshing while providing blood sugar benefits. Fall is an excellent time for roasted vegetable preparations, as the weather cools and heartier cooking methods become more appealing. This is also when cruciferous vegetables like Brussels sprouts and cauliflower are at their peak. Batch cooking becomes more practical, as you want to spend more time in a warm kitchen. Winter can be challenging for maintaining vegetable intake, but it's also when hearty, warming vegetable dishes are most appealing. Soups, stews, and braised vegetables can provide comfort while delivering blood sugar benefits. This is when frozen vegetables become particularly valuable, ensuring you can maintain your intake even when fresh options are limited or expensive. Regardless of the season, the key is flexibility and adaptation. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. If fresh broccoli isn't available or affordable, frozen works just as well for most preparations. If you can't find okra, focus on the other vegetables and add okra back when it's available. Let me share some strategies for maintaining motivation and consistency with these dietary changes. One of the biggest challenges people face is staying motivated when results aren't immediately obvious. Blood sugar improvements can take time to become apparent, especially if you're not monitoring your glucose regularly. Keeping a food and symptom diary can help you notice patterns and improvements that might not be immediately obvious. Track your energy levels, mood, sleep quality, and any blood sugar readings you take. Over time, you may notice that you have more stable energy throughout the day, better sleep, or improved mood when you consistently include these vegetables in your diet. Setting specific, measurable goals can also help maintain motivation. Rather than a vague goal like, eat more vegetables, set specific targets like, include 1 cup of cruciferous vegetables in my lunch every day this week, or try 3 new eggplant recipes this month. These concrete goals are easier to track and provide a sense of accomplishment when achieved. Finding ways to make vegetable preparation enjoyable rather than a chore can also support long-term success. This might mean investing in good quality knives and cutting boards that make prep work easier, listening to podcasts or music while cooking, or involving family members in meal preparation. Experimenting with international cuisines that feature vegetables prominently can help prevent boredom and expand your repertoire of vegetable dishes. Indian, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, and Asian cuisines all have traditions of flavorful vegetable dishes that can provide inspiration for new ways to prepare your blood sugar friendly vegetables. Building flexibility into your approach is crucial for long-term success. There will be days when you can't prepare fresh vegetables, times when you're eating out frequently, or periods when life stress makes meal preparation challenging. Having backup strategies like frozen vegetables, simple preparation methods, and restaurant tactics can help you maintain your progress even during difficult times. It's also important to recognize that perfection isn't the goal. Including these vegetables in your diet most of the time will provide significant benefits, even if you can't manage it every single day. Focus on progress rather than perfection, and don't let occasional lapses derail your overall efforts. Let me address some specific concerns that people over 50 often have about changing their eating habits. One common worry is that these dietary changes might interact with medications or affect other health conditions. While the vegetables I've discussed are generally safe for most people, it's always wise to discuss significant dietary changes with your healthcare provider, especially if you're taking multiple medications or have other health conditions. Another concern is the cost of eating more vegetables, especially for people on fixed incomes. While fresh organic vegetables can be expensive, there are many strategies for including these beneficial vegetables without breaking the budget. Frozen vegetables are often less expensive than fresh and retain most of their nutritional benefits. Buying in season, shopping at farmers markets, and focusing on less expensive varieties can help manage costs. Some people worry that increasing their vegetable intake will require completely overhauling their cooking skills or kitchen equipment. While some new preparation techniques might be helpful, you don't need expensive equipment or advanced culinary skills to benefit from these vegetables. Simple steaming, roasting, and sautéing techniques can be learned quickly and don't require special equipment beyond basic pots and pans. There's also sometimes concern about food safety, especially when increasing consumption of fresh vegetables. Basic food safety practices like washing vegetables thoroughly, storing them properly, and cooking them to appropriate temperatures are sufficient for most people. If you have a compromised immune system, you may need to take additional precautions, but this shouldn't prevent you from benefiting from increased vegetable consumption. Let me share some troubleshooting tips for common preparation and storage challenges. Keeping vegetables fresh and appetizing throughout the week can be challenging, especially if you're doing batch preparation. Proper storage techniques can help maintain quality and nutritional content. For cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, store them in perforated plastic bags in the refrigerator crisper drawer. If you've pre-chopped them, store them in airtight containers and use them within 3 to 4 days. Remember that chopped cruciferous vegetables will continue to produce sulforaphane for several hours after cutting, so this can actually be beneficial. Okra should be stored in a paper bag in the refrigerator and used within a few days of purchase. If you've prepared okra ahead of time, it can be stored in the refrigerator for up to 3 days, though the texture may change slightly upon reheating. Eggplant is best stored at room temperature if you plan to use it within a day or two, or in the refrigerator if you need to keep it longer. Cut eggplant browns quickly, so if you're pre-cutting it, toss it with a little lemon juice to prevent oxidation, or prepare it immediately after cutting. When reheating prepared vegetables, be gentle to preserve texture and nutritional content. Steaming or light sautéing is usually better than microwaving, which can make vegetables mushy. If you're reheating roasted vegetables, a few minutes in a hot oven will help restore their texture better than microwaving. Now, let's discuss how to adapt these strategies for different dietary preferences and restrictions. Whether you follow a vegetarian, vegan, keto, paleo, or other specific eating plan, you can incorporate these blood sugar-friendly vegetables in ways that align with your dietary approach. For vegetarians and vegans, these vegetables provide excellent opportunities to increase protein intake when combined with legumes, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. A hearty soup with okra, lentils, and vegetables provides both blood sugar benefits and substantial protein. Cruciferous vegetables pair well with beans and quinoa for complete amino acid profiles. For those following ketogenic diets, all three of these vegetables are relatively low in carbohydrates and can be included liberally. The focus would be on preparing them with healthy fats like olive oil or avocado oil, and combining them with high-fat proteins. The fiber in these vegetables can also help with some of the digestive challenges that people sometimes experience when starting a ketogenic diet. Paleo dieters can easily incorporate all three vegetables, focusing on simple preparations with herbs, spices, and healthy fats. The anti-inflammatory properties of these vegetables align well with the paleo philosophy of reducing inflammation through food choices. For those with food allergies or intolerances, these three vegetables are generally well tolerated and are rarely allergenic. However, people with nightshade sensitivities may need to avoid eggplant, as it's a member of the nightshade family. In this case, focusing on cruciferous vegetables and okra can still provide significant blood sugar benefits. Let me address some advanced optimization strategies for those who want to maximize their results. One approach is nutrient timing, which involves consuming specific nutrients at times when your body can best utilize them. For example, consuming your largest serving of vegetables before your most carbohydrate-heavy meal of the day can provide maximum blood sugar blunting effects. Another strategy is food combining, which involves pairing foods in ways that optimize digestion and nutrient absorption. Combining your vegetables with small amounts of healthy fats enhances the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins and compounds like sulforaphane. Adding a small amount of vitamin C-rich foods like bell peppers or citrus can enhance iron absorption from leafy greens. Fermentation is another way to potentially enhance the benefits of these vegetables. Fermented vegetables like sauerkraut made from cabbage or fermented okra can provide additional probiotic benefits while retaining the blood sugar controlling properties of the vegetables. The fermentation process may also increase the bioavailability of certain nutrients. Some people experiment with specific preparation techniques that may enhance beneficial compounds. For example, some research suggests that freezing and thawing cruciferous vegetables before cooking may increase sulforaphane production. While this isn't necessary for getting benefits, it's an example of how preparation methods can be optimized. Now let's talk about monitoring and measuring your progress. While the ultimate goal is better blood sugar control, there are several ways to track your progress that don't necessarily require constant glucose monitoring. Energy levels throughout the day can be a good indicator of blood sugar stability. If you're experiencing fewer energy crashes, less afternoon fatigue, or more stable mood throughout the day, these can all be signs that your blood sugar is becoming more stable. Sleep quality can also improve with better blood sugar control. If you're sleeping more soundly, waking up less frequently during the night, or feeling more rested in the morning, this may indicate that your nighttime blood sugar levels are more stable. Physical symptoms like frequent urination, excessive thirst, or blurred vision may improve as blood sugar control improves. However, if you're experiencing these symptoms, it's important to work with a healthcare provider to address them properly. If you do have access to blood glucose monitoring, whether through a glucometer or continuous glucose monitor, you can experiment with different meal combinations to see which work best for your individual physiology. Test your blood sugar before meals and 1 to 2 hours after meals to see how different food combinations affect your glucose response. Weight management often improves with better blood sugar control, as stable glucose levels help regulate hunger hormones and reduce cravings. While weight loss shouldn't be the primary goal, many people find that improved blood sugar control makes it easier to maintain a healthy weight. Let me share some final thoughts on sustainability and long-term success with these dietary changes. The most effective approach is one that you can maintain consistently over time, rather than a perfect approach that you can only follow occasionally. Start with small changes and build on them gradually. You might begin by adding 1 serving of cruciferous vegetables to your lunch each day. Once that becomes a habit, you could add okra to your dinner routine. Gradually building these habits is more sustainable than trying to completely overhaul your diet overnight. Focus on enjoyment rather than deprivation. Find preparation methods and seasoning combinations that make these vegetables genuinely appealing to you. If you don't enjoy what you're eating, you're unlikely to stick with it long term. Be flexible and adaptable. Life will throw curveballs that disrupt your routine. Having strategies for maintaining your vegetable intake during busy periods, while traveling, or when facing other challenges will help you maintain your progress over time. Remember that this is about adding beneficial foods to your diet, not about perfect adherence to a rigid plan. Every serving of these vegetables provides benefits, even if you can't include them in every meal or prepare them perfectly every time. Consider the broader context of your health and lifestyle. While these vegetables can provide significant blood sugar benefits, they work best as part of an overall healthy lifestyle that includes regular physical activity, adequate sleep, stress management, and appropriate medical care. Connect with others who share similar health goals. Whether it's family members, friends, online communities, or local support groups, having social support can make a significant difference in your ability to maintain healthy changes over time. Stay curious and keep learning. Nutrition science continues to evolve, and new research may provide additional insights into optimal strategies for blood sugar control. Staying informed while maintaining a healthy skepticism about fad diets and quick fixes will serve you well. Finally, remember that small, consistent changes compound over time to create significant results. The person who includes these vegetables in their diet most days for years will see far greater benefits than someone who follows a perfect plan for a few weeks and then abandons it. The 3 vegetables we've discussed today: cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale, okra, and eggplant, provide powerful tools for blood sugar management, especially for people over 50. Each works through different mechanisms, but all can contribute to better glucose control when consumed regularly and prepared properly. The key principles to remember are: eat your vegetables first. Include adequate fiber. Don't overcook your cruciferous vegetables. Embrace the beneficial mucilage in okra. Keep the skin on your eggplant. Combine vegetables with healthy fats and proteins, and focus on consistency rather than perfection. These dietary changes work best as part of a comprehensive approach to health that includes regular medical monitoring, appropriate medications when needed, physical activity, stress management, and adequate sleep. They're tools to support your health goals, not magic bullets or replacements for proper medical care. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Every step toward including more of these beneficial vegetables in your diet is a step toward better blood sugar control and overall health. Your future self will thank you for the changes you make today. Thank you for taking the time to learn about these powerful tools for blood sugar management. Here's to your health, vitality, and the confidence that comes from taking control of your wellness through informed food choices.